around the world and across Nigeria. If you just joined us, you're still on to Enterprise Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television. Let's get to our main conversation. An armed group called Lakurawa over the weekend attacked Mera village in Kebbi State, killing 15 people and stealing more than 100 cows. The attack occurred as residents were preparing for Friday prayers.
Following the theft, locals were said to have mobilized to pursue the attackers, leading to an exchange of gunfire that left 15 villagers and 2 terrorists dead.
According to Alhaji Bashir Isa Mira, a notable figure in the community, this was the first time the group had killed anyone in Mira, as they previously only stole livestock, demanding payments from owners.
Very true. The Lakurawa group is believed to operate from the Sokoto forest, where they plan such attacks.
And in response to the incident, Kebbi State Governor Nasser Idris ordered the deployment of soldiers, while other high-ranking officials, including the Deputy Governor, Senator Abubakar Umar Tafida, and Emir of Argungu Alhaji Samaila Mera, visited Mera to support the victims' families.
And combined security forces, including police and DSS agents, have been mobilized to help restore peace in the area.
Very well. Now let's have our conversation this morning, and with us to do that is Cyril Abaku, journalist and public affairs analyst. Thank you so very much for being here.
Thank you so much for being here.
And also, if possible, virtually High Chief Peter Ame might join us if it's possible. And whenever he does, of course, we'll let you know. So let's kickstart our discussion this morning. Cyril Abaku, I know we've discussed this before. A new terrorist group, already 15 people, are nowhere to be found now as a result of their actions. Speak to us on this. What do you think is inspiring these people? Is it economy? Is it the same old like the Boko Haram religious affinity? What exactly is it?
Well, it's a very sad development. It is sadder than sad. I'm not sure that anybody who really understands what's going on can hold back tears. And I doubt very strongly if the founding fathers of our country foresaw a nation that will one day come to this very sorry pass. Now, Lakurawa is not a new terrorist group. I spent the weekend researching into them. They're not new in anything.
It's not new.
And they have known that they've been there for about 6 years now.
Really?
Yes, they've been there, they've been operating. They came, they birthed in Gonuk. You will see that this killing 15 people is not even the story.
So what's the story?
So you investigate that they killed 15 people, and so what? You've done mass murder for 15 persons. As early as 2018, these people came to Sokoto State. They birthed there. They occupied territory, because now the story we hear is that ostensibly cattle herders who feared the actions of bandits went to hire them and brought them into the country. You know why they will not go to the Nigerian army? There's 2 reasons. Nigeria has a serious crisis of existence. Is Nigeria, or is it just another people coming together to just do whatever they like? So to that extent, if people don't recognize an authority as authority, it is difficult for them to give it its due. They will not succumb or subscribe to it. So there's a problem of whether they should really see the army as an army, the way it should be seen, or even police. The other thing is that there is a perception that has been sold to some part of Nigeria that the army has human rights problems. They will abuse, they will extort, they also show tendencies of terrorism. Mind you, only last week, a panel sat and came up with its report absolving the Nigerian army of conducting a mass abortion program, which international news agency Reuters actually did an investigation and accused the army of running a program of mass abortion for people that were for women. Maybe the army was accused of raping the women or terrorists and raped the women, but that the army undertook an industrial scale abortion program. You see, there are things going on in this country. That so if even the army is not being perceived in the right light among the locals, they find it difficult to resort to them.
So the Lakurawa is more like a vigilante that was invited.
Ostensibly brought in as a rescue
Mission. Okay.
to Gongono Forest in Sokoto State. Now, what happened? That's why some people tell that they have them speaking French and a dialect of the Arabic language. That was the initial story. Now we hear that they speak house and full, which means they've expanded their ranks. Okay, fine. Now they've been there for 6 years. When they came in, as part of their mode of operations, or modus as you like to say, what did they do? They established territory for themselves. Then as many communities that came under their control, they expanded their influence over them and imposed their own version of Sharia, made zakat compulsory, imposed a way of worship, men must kill, women must. This is like the Taliban. That's what they've done. How is it that, and in fact, look, one of the reports we read actually acknowledged the role of the Sokoto State governor back then.
Who?
In bringing that money to give to the security agency to push these guys out as the story went. That they have been so flushed out to the point where they even saw where they had raised their flag. They had the flag, which they raised. I mean, anywhere anybody conquers and puts a flag, it means it is territory.
Sure.
Good. Then, in addition to that, the people now begged, the so-called Lakurawa now begged and said they sent an embassage and a delegation to Lagos to dispose of cattle or something, and that they should please go beg, that they are begging that those people should please come back first before they can finally. And I'm wondering, do we live in this country based on laws, or we live based on some sort of look, you know me, I know you, now we kind of thing? So with all this background, the army coming to tell us, if it is true, coming to tell us last week that this group exploited the lacuna of the breakdown of security collaboration between Nigeria and Niger to come into Nigeria. I asked on this table, I said, if indeed there was a breakdown of communication, these people came into Nigeria when the borders were shut, when trade was no longer taking place, yet they could come into Nigeria. Except we want to go by the argument of the porosity of the borders, that there's no, that when you say border, it's not that there's actually ring fence. Okay, fine. But even if that were the case, the evidence is too stark for us to pretend that this thing wasn't there all along. And as I asked last week, who undertook the risk assessment? If you want to stop trade, you see all this Iran and for example, India stopped between Israel and Iran. It is ostensibly on account of trade, because Iran and India are deep in trade. What's it called? Israel and India also deep in trade. In fact, they highway that are building to Europe. But the fact is that Israel also supplies arms to India. And whether I like it or not, once trade is affected, if people will take to stealing, security is also compromised. So trade, economy, and security cannot be separated from one another. But in our own case, we are made to believe that it was just about a coup took place, and that we are shutting the borders, and that because of, if people were simply not moving, how did this people now move into Nigeria? If that version of the story is good.
Now, Cyril Abako, when you started, you said the cattle rearers brought in the Lakurawa people because they wanted to be protected. Now, at this point, are we going to say the failure of our security agencies to man their borders actually led to this problem we are facing, especially those in the north, and as a country we are currently facing? Assuming our security officials or the security agencies did their job and protected the people, would we be suffering this Lakurawa problem you're suffering today?
Well, we won't. But again, there are very deep underlying issues. There are very deep underlying issues. Because one of the reports was even suggesting that this Lakurawa have now even joined forces with the so-called local bandits. They came to flush out. At the time, the security agencies, I think that was under Governor Tambua, had a joint operation, or I don't know whether it was army, but there was the operation. There was an operation in which they began to push them away. Mieti Allah was reported to have issued a statement saying that the Lakurawa should be left alone, that they are mere headers. But if security, because in the rules of engagement in the military, Once you are armed, you're no longer a civilian. The moment you are armed, even if that person carrying arms was a 14-year-old, the moment you are armed, you are no longer a civilian. So if that is rule of engagement, the question then is, well, from here to, because why I'm saying all of this is I want us to understand something. Two things. In the reports, when you read and they say that the two communities as far as in the north, some places are really hard to reach. When they that they went to as far as Toaso village, they are just telling that they went to the most unthinkable places in Nigeria to go and spread the influence. That is on the one hand. On the other hand is the other question of when Mieti says that these people are head around, that they should be left alone. Good. Are you aware that these people are sophisticated, that they are armed to sophistication? So if people can, it's like saying these people who are farming, leave them alone. But these people have grenades, they have AK-47, so are they still farmers or they are militia? What are they really? And how should the state interpret them? So when they say leave them alone, the question is, you see, because security issue, yes, but I'm more concerned about the viability of state policy. How do we define who is who? How do we differentiate an armed robber from a bandit, from a so-called terrorist, from a headsman? Because these guys go around, they are armed. How much is one cap, and how much is an AK-47 rifle? I told us last week here that people who brandy this kind of weapons must be state funded. Now the story is they came from Mali. Niger shares boundary with Mali and Libya, if I'm correct. No, is it Mali and Algeria? And that they came all the way from that place to they crossed into Nigeria, and that what is it called? That they are even an offshoot of ISIS and so on. The stories are a lot complicated. In my opinion, if you want to deal with the Lakurawa as a threat, we cannot sit as a country unsure of who they are or where they even came from. Because if we are even, I read it by the coalition of northern groups, and they said that they didn't, this matter is really complex. They said that the military just concluding and writing off and saying when they came, villages accepted them, they didn't report them to us, and so that's why. But now they're doing everything we can to flush them out. The man was saying that the Nigerian army has questions to answer as far as northern villages are concerned because of what he said were human rights issues, and so the way that it looks as if the development was just writing the whole thing off and saying it was their fault, but that they're going to rescue them. If you have a breakdown of community and government relations, if indeed these people came into their villages, now we understand that they might have even been also went and brought them in. When the matter got out of hand, they now have to raise their alarm. We need to sit down in this country and decide on where we are going, who we are, what we are after. This manner in which there's a security threat in a village, the police can't help you, the army can't help you. You go away as far as God knows where to go and pay people to come into your own country. Have you devaluated the biggest law of the land? Do you even believe in the country that you're in? When they told the President Tinubu last year that any attempt to attack Niger will be seen as an attack on the north, it just tells you that there is a serious polarity of worldviews between those who think that Nigeria is Nigeria for Nigeria's own sake, and those who think that Nigeria is only Nigeria for as long as certain conditions must be met. We must come to believe in our country as a viable entity, as a possibility, not just a potential, and then work out to that possibility. But until we are willing to do that, this sort of scenarios will continue. Now, these people have come in and they've got out of hand. The question we have to ask ourselves is, I hope that even if the military told us last week that these guys came in because of the breakdown of the security coordination between Nigeria and Niger, I hope that they are not using that false premise to also address the problem when they deploy. Because that way you'll be going off guard. I don't know if you got what I'm saying. Because if you have the wrong diagnosis, you could never get the right solution. And how do you expect us to be able to also support it? Because military warfare isn't only one because you deploy boots and guns. No, it is one because you have the support and cooperation. With the way with what Ed Abuba said last week, I don't know how they hope to get the actual buy-in of locals. Because already the locals feel that these people are lying about the situation. How did I expect them to volunteer information and to come in and support you?
Okay, now at this point now, I want to ask, because the governor had assured and pledged that their protection against further attacks by the terror group would be certified, and also the public relations officer of Kebbi State, as at last week, his phone could not be reached for comments, and when they were filing this report, can they be trusted at this point? Are we going to say, okay, this is just like a mere comment, just to pacify the public, or just to ward off and not put fear in the minds of people?
The answer to your question is not. What I'll answer the question, then I'll give you an answer. In 14 or so, there's a village called Konduga that was attacked. It was razed. When I mean razed, it was brought to ashes. Then now Vice President, then Governor Kashim Shettima went to Konduga. I remember him saying that he will be in Konduga, that he will not leave until justice was served. Of course, maybe it was an administrative thing he said or political thing he said. He went back to Maiduguri because Konduga is still Konduga till today. Okay, yeah. So let's put Konduga on one hand. The governor is only a governor. What can he do? What can he really do? And you see, because when the Yoruba people say that when the soap and the dish have been together for a long time, they become one. You can't separate them anymore. You are talking about places where people have to appease terrorists to win elections. Yes. Where people have to appease terrorists, where people have to appease this to win it. So aren't you even worried that even if it wasn't so true, or maybe it is true, that people are able to accuse a civil minister of being a sponsor of banditry? The vice president himself was saying that now he has appointed somebody to be his ADC, that people say he's the father of Boko Haram. You see, the thing is this: we are in a social milieu in which the worst things are coming to the surface in a way and manner that is really disturbing. Now, even if it may assume that anybody can accuse of anything, they know that there are those you can appoint and nobody will accuse them of anything. But because the entire milieu has been soiled and contaminated, anything now flies and anything now goes. And I can assure you that, were you to carry out I'm not talking of Nigerian type. If you wanted to undertake a really, really serious investigation into what has happened in the north, a lot of those in government will have questions to answer.
All right.
The only governor who apparently wanted to keep himself pure had to cry out at the point to say that the president had abandoned the state. Out of desperation, he had to declare amnesty for bandits. And we saw when a bandit slung his gun to his shoulder, stand in front of the governor. Where is that ever done? Now, to answer your question more directly, what Nigeria must do, this is clearly a matter that falls directly on the table of Mr. President. There's no governor can deal with insecurity by himself. In the Nigerian context, the presidency must be willing to deal with this matter head on. The Lakurawa incident came to the open last week. By Friday, they had killed 15 persons. But on Sunday yesterday, the president was on a plane to Riyadh. As I speak to President Tinubu and I think Shettima and the NSA, then Saudi Arabia are attending an Islamic conference on the Israel-Iran war. How does that help Nigeria?
Very funny. I loved when you talked about having the wrong diagnosis.
Yes.
Of course, not getting the right medication. I speak and understand Hausa so very well. And when you listen to an average herdsman in the north and you hear him speak from his heart, you understand the pain they go through, how that they have been abandoned by the state, how that security operatives don't care for them, how that development do not reach them. Each of them desire to have their children go to school, but often you don't see schools there, therefore they don't go there. Now, when we compare what you see there, we do not want to hold brief for them, but when you compare what they go through in the north, compare it to what had happened or possibly still happening skeletally in the south of Nigeria. Yesterday was the remembrance of Ken Saruwiwa. and the Mossab issue, the fight against pollution and so on, of course, which gave birth to insurgents in the south of Nigeria.
Right.
Till today, we still have insurgency in the south of Nigeria. Now, why is it that when it comes to the north, it's becoming to look like it's never happened before, but till today we have individuals, okay, who still have mercenaries and they still brandish some of these very complicated and complex ammunitions in the same country.
They have you had you may have seen the report about 5 million plus arms on the loose in Nigeria. People, okay, so let's even take it a bit deeper. Yeah, I hope you know that in Nigeria, when people raise an issue and say they're fighting for resource control and fighting for even the Lakurawa that came first, purportedly came to carry out vigilante activities. We are putting a flag. What has flag got to do with your vigilance work? What has it that flag, as far as they are concerned, overrides Nigeria's sovereignty? Yes.
Can that be based on illiteracy?
No.
Is it possible?
It is based on worldview. You may come, so let's be careful. Illiteracy simply has to do with letters, right? Written and writing. They can read them. They can read and write the Quran. They can understand it. They're literate in the Quran. So they are literate in Arabic, which means that they have obtained a certain level of education. Yeah, so that may not even be the question. It's a matter of worldview. I was talking about, is Nigeria for Nigeria? That's why I put it. What do we when we say the name Nigeria, what does it really bring to mind? The locals have lost faith in Nigeria. That's why they have to travel out to go and bring foreign mercenaries. How does that sound in the ear? And if the army sincerely didn't know that such mercenaries came to this country, so I can't understand it.
So how do we address this issue? Just like I did say, what is happening in the north is equally happening in other regions of Nigeria, because we can't be having a fully funded military while an individual claims to have a mercenary that is well equipped to take up the duties of the military.
I think that somehow a lot of Nigeria's constant past are waiting for the day the unthinkable may happen. Believe me. Didn't you see that Buhari started seeing things on social media? Nigeria Delta Republic, their currency and flag.
Yeah, exactly.
Because at every little turn, the whole thing just escalates. Now, a federal government that has tolerated Lakurawa, because that's what it is. They tolerated. They can't say they were not aware. You cannot tell us that intelligence. That's why I said investigating people killed in Mera is inconsequential. You must get to the root of the matter. Now, the federal government has stated here, you may not answer me because it's a rhetorical question. Has federal government ever shown any seriousness that it will deal with the same crime if it happened everywhere in Nigeria? Look at, for example, the people who are mining gold in Zamfara and other places. They are even reaching an agreement with them, say, mine a little, send some of the money to Abuja. But so-called oil thieves in Nigeria, they are bombing anyone who can bomb everything. So what does that tell you? If you took the miners in the north to the south, and took the south people to the north, they will still trade the people. Yes. So that is the problem. We must agree on Nigeria. And that's the deep thing I'm saying. We must agree that we want to make this country work, that it can exist, that it can live, and that it will just survive, and that it must be a country of egalitarian men and women, that all of us can live equally, succeed equally, work together in peace and harmony. But it must happen when we have leadership that is sincere and genuine in working to see it happen.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you so much, sir. Please, we have to go.
Yeah, we have to go. It's actually quite disturbing, that we have very serious issues like this. Our country is literally on fire, and our president is going to make peace amongst world leaders. It's quite unfortunate. But that's the problem, and that is the issue that we have. Of course, we pray for a solution in the type of leaders that we have both now and in the future. Thank you so very much, Cyril Obaka.
Thank you so much, sir.
For being part of our show today. We would have loved and wished to continue. There's a very interesting discussion, but for the want of time, we just have to close and call it a wrap for today. Thank you so very much once more for being part of our show today. We truly do appreciate you, but please do well to visit us. You can always reach us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may like, comment, and follow us on our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. I am Henry Igubike.
And I'm Choma Okoye.
Thank you very much for watching. Once more, we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye.